Lewis erases the free throw line jumper by Zalasketa. And Wiesman pops a tray. Yes, sir! After a slow start with foul trouble, and there's Nene Taylor poking it away at midcourt. How about the Kansas State defense here, taking over this game and pushing it to a 15-point Wildcat lead. And Wiesman left all alone. Another 5 three-pointer game for Kindred Wiesman, who's all smiles heading back down the floor. It's an ill-advised bounce pass intercepted by Martin. Cats with some numbers here, and Craig to the bucket. Lewis looking to go to work again. 3 defenders come towards her, but she fades back and trickles it in. She is red hot right now with 22. Just does get there. Dynas pulls the trigger and hits. That's the first three-pointer since the 9-12 mark of the second quarter for K-State. The Bearcats will control the tip. They have the first possession of the ball game. K-State drops into their zone. And the Bearcats, who are looking for win number 5 this year and trying to bounce back after losing ball game a couple nights ago to Rice. Ball got down to the baseline, but out of bounds was Shanice Robertson in a quick turnover. We'll get it to the Wildcats. K-State's defense, something that they've certainly relied on this year. The defense was very good last time out against Florida Atlantic, but the offense in particular was where it was at for K-State, scoring 100 points. 102 to be exact. Here's Dynas down the baseline. She gets K-State started with a nice baseline J.
Well, Dynas, just one of those players that has brought so much to this Wildcat team this season. One of those 3 players averaging double figures. She gets about 11 a game, and we've talked a number of times about just the smooth nature of her jump shot, her offensive game.
Against Florida Atlantic, Jeff Mitty said it was about as good as he's seen her look in terms of cutting and moving without the basketball. So K-State grabs the early lead here. Sam Houston State finally gets a touch inside for Beadle, their star center. She drops it down on the block, and a nice roll for Shadijah Moore. She ties it up at 2.
Tough pass there through the zone. It's one of those things where K-State will continue to work on that, be big, hands up, get those gaps closed.
Wiesman straight on, knocks it down. Yeah, it looks like Wiesman may pick up where she left off last time at her second 5 three-pointer game against Florida Atlantic.
She's just catch and shoot. I mean, there's no thought to it. She looks so comfortable and so confident in rhythm, and that's, you know, that's one thing you've got to have from her, especially as the season progresses.
Baseline drive left side. McGowan lost it. Now K-State tries to run. The pass a little out in front of Kindred Wiesman. Well, let's check now our Kansas Lottery keys to victory, Kristen.
Well, so far it looks good. Offensive execution. You know, K-State's got a little, they've had some times where they've had a tendency to get a little stagnant on the offensive end, and so last game out at Florida Atlantic game was not one of those games. They looked really good on the offensive side. You want to continue that, be consistent. Bench play, they get a season high 43 points. Nene Taylor comes off the bench with 14, so they've been a huge part of K-State's offense. And focus and intensity. You got a couple games here in 3 days, so you've got to be ready to go.
Brianna Lewis picks up an early foul there. Cats want to make sure she stays out there on the floor. She'll have a big matchup inside with Beadle. Just got 2 overzealous there on Shanice Robertson, who is the returning leading scorer in the Southland Conference. She's in and out on the first free throw. 84% foul shooter, so not often that you're going to get a break from her missing at the line.
She's one of those kids that is part of her game. She gets to the foul line.
1 for 2 there. It's her 37th free throw of the season, to your point about her getting to the line. K-State still on top as the Wildcats working the half-court offense. Dynas open, she can hit that, misses strong though. A long rebound off to Sam Houston State. They want to run or go straight to the basket with reckless abandon, and an offensive foul is called. So Orr gets her first foul. She is just a freshman, and the savvy Kindred Wiesman gets back and gets set.
And that's one of those plays that you can see that experience there, just getting after it. Orr was obviously a player with great speed, good athleticism, but Wiesman just kind of set up and waited for her and took it.
Same spot for Dynas. Can't find the range this time, in and out. And the rebound plucked out of there by Moore. Sam Houston State won just 6 games last year. They were picked 10th in the Southland this season and have started 4-4. A big help this year has been getting back Beadle inside. She was an all-league performer a couple years ago. There's her partner in crime, Robertson, Misses the jumper, and now K-State will move it up the floor with a 2-point advantage. Wiesman drops it to Page, and now inside Lewis. A strong attack there, but it just did not go down. You like the aggressiveness she had there.
Well, and that's part of K-State's offense. They obviously want to get Bree Lewis involved early and get her going.
The foul on the perimeter on Megan Dynas, but Brianna Lewis averaging 15 points a game, 7 rebounds a game. Bree Craig will check in for Shaylin Martin for Jeff Mitty's Wildcats. K-State scored at least 20 points in every single quarter in that game against Florida Atlantic. Got 5 in the early going here in a 2-point lead. The Bearcats swing it around the perimeter. Shot clock at 15. That's a tough jumper for Beadle, but she got hit. And if that's on Brianna Lewis, that's going to be trouble. It is. So Lewis picks up 2 early fouls, and that'll become an early storyline here, getting in foul trouble.
We've seen that in a couple of games this season where, you know, for one reason or another, you're not coming ready to play, not ready to go from a mental standpoint, and Lewis has gotten in foul trouble. And that's one of the things Coach Mitty has talked about, that teams are going to realize that and put the emphasis on going at her and forcing her to play and forcing her to come ready and not foul. And the first one, you know, picked up against 5'6", really just slapped down, and both have been fouls, but at 6'5", she's got to just rely on her height, rely on her frame, and just be smart.
Beadle knocks down both free throws to tie it, just a 56% foul shooter, but she's been a double-double machine this year. Craig pulls the trigger, that's long, and it allows for a long board to the Bearcats. No numbers in transition for Robertson, who led the Southland Conference with 19.7 points a game last year. Ball's knocked out of bounds, and quickly Shaylin Martin in for Kaylee Page. Martin had 8 points, got in on the action. K-State hung 102 on Florida Atlantic last time out. Looking to get it inside to Beadle, they do. Running jump hook through the lane, that's off the mark. And then Sam Houston State fouls, fighting for the rebound. So Erica Young will come in here for Bree Lewis on the bench with foul trouble, and it was Guillory trying to go get that rebound over her.
Young is another one of those players, had a really good game against Florida Atlantic, 8 points, 5 blocks. And so really, with Lewis on the bench with foul trouble, got to be able to be smart, not turn it over, and play a role of that bench player.
How about Kindred Wiesman? That was a contested 3, much less open than the other one she hit, and 6 of the 8 points for the Wildcats early on here belong to Kindred Wiesman.
Well, you may not need the inside if you've got Wiesman going on from the outside, as she's been.
Looking to stay red hot. There's a pull-up tray. That's strong for Robertson. Bearcats not a great 3-point shooting team. K-State is going to wind up with the basketball here after the fight. But just 24% on the year is Sam Houston State. They were only 1 of 9 from long range in a 58-46 loss to previously winless Rice on Thursday. It's the final home non-conference game for Brenda Welch-Nichols' squad. K-State's led most of the early going here in the first quarter. Page from the free throw line over to Dynas. Doesn't want the 3 this time, and a foul away from the basketball. And maybe 3 seconds called there on K-State, so Sam Houston will get the basketball back. They can tie on this possession with a 3-pointer.
Sam Houston's in a pretty active zone, so it'll be a test for K-State to, again, not stand and to keep that basketball moving.
Robertson into a 3, and that is good. It rattles home, so that will tie the game.
You know, you talked about they don't shoot the 3 very well, but Robertson is one of those players that on the scouting report, you've got to know she's almost 39% from beyond the arc, so you've got to be able to find her in that zone.
And percentage-wise, by far the best long-distance shooter that the Bearcats have. K-State with the shot clock approaching 10. Out to Craig, gets her feet set. And that one misses badly, and long rebound rolls out of bounds. So we've got a tie ball game here early. The Wildcats getting much of their scoring right now from Kindred Wiesman. 6 of the 8 K-State points on 2 long-range bombs, and we're tied at Bramlage.